Baseball is better with Mike Trout. The Braves are bouncing back while the Mets are choking earlier than usual. And it's a young man's game now. This is Kent, and this is Fanatically Speaking. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Fanatically Speaking. I am Kent, and today's episode, talking about Mike Trout, talking about baseball. And baseball is just better when Mike Trout is playing great and relevant. Now, what brought this up, right? We've been going through a few seasons with him, and he's kind of on the back burner of Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, some of the new talent, younger stars. And we'll get into those younger stars. I'll get into that later. But Mike Trout is a bona fide star. And when he's playing great, it's just better. And you can see it in the news cycle and the highlights and everything. Like, if Mike Trout is making amazing catches and hitting bombs and has the Angels playing great, it's just better for Major League Baseball. Now, again, what brought this up was in this first month of the season, Mike Trout has been playing really well. And one series particular he played well was at Yankee Stadium. And they had how many games in that series? I forget. But anyways, it was a battle. Him and Aaron Judge went toe-to-toe, homer for homer. And, especially in the first game of that series, they went, both had 2 homers in the game. It was a back and forth. If there ever could be a back and forth between stars in baseball, the way, they hit the lineup, it isn't like back and forth, but it's back and forth. So just to kind of highlight and sum up that series for both of these guys, but especially Mike Trout. In the series, he had 5 home runs, 9 RBIs, 21 total bases. And on the other side, your current, reigning MVP, Aaron Judge, 4 home runs, 5 RBIs, 18 total bases. So, like I said, definitely a battle between 2 of the top players in the league. But of late, Trout's kind of not been that guy. He's not been the same player in more recent years due to injuries, things like that. And I would say that, that's just kind of, it gets everybody, not everybody, it gets a lot of stars in their career. It just so happens that right now, in most recent years, it got Mike Trout. But again, that series was big, and Mike Trout just doing that old Mike Trout type of stuff and doing it at Yankee Stadium, right? I think if Mike Trout would have done that in Miami, it would have been a news, but it wouldn't been like this kind of news against the Yankees and Aaron Judge, and then Judge, hitting bombs as well. So really good to see. But let's just look at this. I think Judge and Ohtani, I talk about how it's death, taxes, and Judge and Ohtani are going to win MVP. And it's kind of been the story of late. But they need some competition. It would help. It is something to watch great players play baseball. And I think back to Barry Bonds. Before Barry Bonds went on his tear, in the late 90s, early 2000s, and steroids or not, it was exciting to watch Barry Bonds play, and you were watching greatness. You knew you were watching something special. And I wasn't a Bonds fan that much, but I was a baseball fan, and Canseco was on his last legs. So, and being a Braves fan, I mean, it was nice beating Bonds when he was a Pirate, but I kind of caught on. And if you're a baseball fan, you catch on to these things. So watching Judge, Ohtani, you're watching something special. I kind of like to enjoy the history of it. But at the same time, you would like to see, some other stars step up. And Mike Trout had that type of he was going that route before injuries and things like that happened. But yeah, like Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Vlad Guerrero, even Bryce Harper. These are guys who should be and are the competition to Judge and Ohtani. And there's some other guys, again, coming up. And Trout would be, with all of his accolades, he should be right here in competition for these guys, just like before, even at age 34. And as I mentioned, though, he's kind of on the back burner, being, battling injuries, being on a bad Angels team franchise. They just can't get it right. They've got the money, and this is that argument on the other side of when you talk about the Dodgers and Yankees and other teams who spend money. The Angels spend money, but they just don't seem to win. So I think it's a valid question, about Trout does he belong even in an Angels uniform? And I know he doesn't want to talk about it. He's not going to request it. But, he should be a Hall of Famer, but his numbers have taken a hit. Another guy who comes to mind is Ken Griffey Jr., but Griffey still put astronomical numbers, and that'll just tell you how good Ken Griffey Jr. was. But again, Mike Trout, as it stands, as a career, he's a batting average 293. That's good. That's a check. Hits 1,775. That's a tough one. Hall of Fame, that threshold is normally 3,000, but if you get in the 25, if you get into that range, sometimes that helps you out. 1,775, not a lot of hits. Below 2,000 is rough. RBI is 1,036. Again, not a great number. Home runs, he's at 412. I believe he's at 8 on the season right now. So, I think hitting 500 would help him if he could just, I put up those numbers, the runs, but he's an 11-time All-Star, 3-time AL MVP, 3-time All-MLB first team, Rookie of the Year, 9 Silver Sluggers. Again, that's a Hall of Famer if there ever was a Hall of Famer. So let's put him in. He's got the Hall of Fame numbers for the most part. He's just got to finish strong. And then, of course, that leads into, what else could he do? Again, his contract is, 15 years, whatever it is. He's got however much left. So, actually, I do know what he's got left. He does. He actually is signed through 2030 and would be a free agent at age 38 in 2031. So, at the moment, he's here to play, right? 4 or 5 more years, maybe 6, 7. He could always be a DH and play to 40. But we see that he could extend his career for sure. But yeah, maybe an East Coast team would be good for Mike Trout. When you think about Mike Trout and another team, East Coast, and the first one, of course, is the Philadelphia Phillies, who could use him like I don't know what right now, right? They could use any jolt of life into that team. And again, he's an Eagles fan, every Eagles game from there. So obviously that's the number one choice. I think even as a Braves fan, it's like, look, I don't care. He's an Eagles fan. So I'm already a fan of him as a baseball and Eagles fan. Just let him play for the Phillies. It'll be good for baseball. And again, that's what this is about right now, is just Mike Trout being good for baseball and him being relevant. I like the idea of the Phillies. I like the idea of the Braves. Why not? A team like the Cubs, the Reds, East Coast, man. Let's get him relevant. Let's get him being watched by the majority of this country, not stuck out on the West Coast. Not that matters, because Bonds was on the West Coast. Ohtani's been on the West Coast. Even Trout, again, on the West Coast, and still popular, MVP, highlight reel. So it doesn't really matter. I'm just, hey, let's just put him on something that could be helpful for everybody. He seems, though, to be really loyal to the Angels, which is why he signed that, contract extension, even though they haven't been to the playoffs since 2014. They even one time had Trout, Pujols, and Ohtani and still couldn't win. Ohtani opted to leave to the team that brought him to the league. Pujols, eventually, rewarded him for his Cardinal work. He got the contract with the Angels, never panned out. But obviously, Hall of Famer in Pujols, one of the greatest players ever. But the Angels, I don't even think they would win, honestly. I mean, I look and the guys that they've had, they've never had like ace pitching, so I think pitching is really an issue for them. But I don't even think they win if they had Acuna, Guerrero, Soto, and Machado on the same team with Trout and name whatever pitchers you want to put on there, Skeens and Fried and whoever. I think they'd still lose. Somehow that team just seems to be cursed at the moment. And it's been a while, 25 or so years since they won. But, yeah, I feel like they would just continue to lose no matter what. But I think everybody, I said, can agree that baseball, that was a nice little run of Mike Trout here early in the season. His average is not exactly where, it normally would be, but he's still serviceable, hitting bombs, knocking in runs, being exciting. Just want him to return to that superstar status and, push Judge and Ohtani or whoever, for that limelight, for that spotlight. But a team, I mentioned a team that could be good. It could be. And they're off to a hot start. And that team is the Atlanta Braves. All right, yeah, so the Atlanta Braves, that's the team. I would love for them to add anybody like a Mike Trout. But again, they have really done a opposite of what I expected. I'm thinking they need this, they need that, and they just plug in guys, and these guys are performing. The Braves are off to a hot streak this year, and I know I didn't see it coming. I didn't see it coming. The injuries on that pitching staff, the injuries, slow start by Acuna and Riley. But if we look at the standings, they not only now they have the best record in the MLB, and they've been teetering back and forth with those mighty Avengers, the Dodgers. Padres right there too. Yankees have been pretty good. They're kind of a roller coaster. They're great. Then they slip. Then they went right back up. But the Braves are, first place. Every other team in right now, the East, are a losing record. And, I didn't see this hot start. Olsen, Albies, Harris, they seem like they're back to normal. They're playing all-star caliber baseball. Drake Baldwin has continued from his rookie of the year season. And at the moment, a month in, yes, but, he's in an MVP conversation early if those numbers continue, and he's a hell of a defensive catcher. Jorge Mateo, Mauricio Dubon, they've overachieved filling in for Hae-Sung Kim. And then Dubon, he's very valuable because he's in the infield, he's in the outfield. Knew he could play defense, but that bat has been good as well. Dominic Smith, he's holding down the DH in Marcell Ozuna's exit to Pittsburgh. They kind of rotate depending on the day, but, he's been clutch. He's batting above 300 or right at 300, hitting bombs, coming. Having big hits. Bryce Elder stepped up, figured out maybe how to pitch better in the MLB. The bullpen is solid. Chris Sale's still the ace. They're getting, Martin Perez has come in. Martin Perez has come in, and he's kind of like Elder, just keeping that spot warm for, whoever comes back, like the Strider and Schwellenbach and Waldrop. Whoever they can plug in or get back this year, these guys are holding it down. Ronaldo Lopez, Grant Holmes, they're good, not great, but they are being, again, serviceable pitchers and serving their role. And then you get, J.R. Ritchie gets his debut and he pitches like a pro. Gave up a bomb on his first pitch. Oh, well, got it out the way, and then was lights out. Now, I do think the Braves are going to have to, they're going to have Acuna and Riley step up. Now, Acuna, he'll show a sign, and then Riley might show, and then I mean, again, their average is so low. I mean, both are in below 250 batting average. I was expecting Acuna to have more homers. I've kind of settled that he's just never going to steal bases again like he did. And I can't really explain the reason. I mean, he's still got the power. He's still got athleticism. You can tell he won't test in a pickle or a rundown. He won't test those knees and those legs. But again, they're gonna need those guys to step up. Both of them are gonna have to step up if they have a chance to win and play in October. I really do believe that, and I think you're gonna need Spencer Strider to not just return, but return back to his old form. Last year it was like, okay, you're injured. Let's hope you're okay. You know, this injury he's dealing with, I think, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it's not like arm. So I think he's just, he'll be back, but, you know, this season and as the season goes, going to need him to kind of return to his type of ace type of pitch and to go with a Chris Sale and them. Schwellenbach, Waldrop would be great to have if they can come back healthy, if they can come back this season. And speaking of not just the Braves right now, but, you know, their rival in the division in the, NL East, the New York Mets, who myself and I think many, after the money they spent, thought they would be better. I'm looking at the Mets and they are just, payroll of $375 million. Where they went out, they got Bo Bichette, Luis Robert, they got Marcus Semien, Jorge Polanco, Devin Williams, Freddie Peralta, Luke Weaver, Tommy Pham. They've even got Craig Kimbrell. Not to mention, they still have Juan Soto, and he had been injured. But right now, they are at the bottom, tied with the Phillies, by the way, with 9-19 records. And they are already 10.5. Both teams are 10.5 games out of first. Now it's early, and that's what I keep saying. Is like I'm excited. I'm excited the Braves are playing well, but I mean for those two teams, probably coming in the favorites. You're that bad early, and the Braves are that good. Which credit to Walt Weiss, credit to those guys stepping up, and playing, filling in, doing whatever. And not losing a series yet. I think they tied in one, and then they've won every series, so far this season. But back to the Mets, these they can't be like this. They can't lose like this. They went out. They went all out. And when I say all out, they made trades. They got rid of guys that had been there, like a Pete Alonso. They was like revamping this team. And it's just not working. And, Juan Soto being hurt definitely adds to it. But there was no excuse for them going in and having a 12-game losing streak. By the way, the Phillies have already had a 9-game losing streak. And again, we're only in the first month of the season. And they've had these types of losing streaks. Then the report comes out, Juan Soto, he didn't even talk to his teammates during the losing streak. So not that he's a leader type of guy, but when you look at that losing streak and you're like, man, your highest paid player, your best player is not even talking to guys. It's a bad look. It's a bad look. Expect changes in New York, especially if they can't get it together. When you talk about the manager, Carlos Mendoza, I mean, that is a way to get fired. And it definitely, if it doesn't get better, you can't have Miami and Washington above you. Now, both of them have losing records too, but it's not as bad as theirs. And same for Rob Thompson in Philadelphia. Both of them guys are on the watch right now. That losing streak, though, for the Mets, this is kind of how it's been. It's been, they included the Diamondbacks, the A's, the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Twins. I had the stats here. They've changed, but the team batting average is low. Their hits are less than their strikeouts. Francisco Alvarez has been their best hitter. Bo Bichette is getting a lot of hits. He's doing good on certain areas, RBIs, hits. His average is low. Again, adjustments may be made to the city, to the team, to the league. Devin Williams, high ERA. Luke Weaver, high ERA. Freddie Peralta, Senga, all high ERAs. Their bright spots have been Clay Holmes and Nolan McLean. But, as I said, the Mets, they normally choke, in that playoff push or in the playoffs. As I mentioned, I picked them to be better, and I've never been more proud to be wrong. I've never been proud to be more proud to be wrong on them, the Phillies. But I think, it's very similar to the Braves last year. They got off to a really, really rough start because of injuries. The Mets don't have that. Soto being out, about half the time or so, they've still got enough talent on that team that they should not be having the worst record in baseball. And that's what them and the Phillies have. Now, not just them, the Phillies. Almost a month now we're in, and they have the worst record in baseball. And that includes teams like the Marlins, the Nationals, the Rockies, Royals, White Sox, A's. And just to go along with this, another odd stat, like I said, the Braves winning, I didn't expect. The Mets, Phillies losing, I didn't expect. And you can add the Red Sox on there too. Now, I did predict that, so I will take that right. Maybe they turn around. They have fired Alex Cora. So Phillies, Mets, they are just right there ready to, do the same. It's only a matter of time. If they don't turn it around quickly by the summer, and by summer, I mean end of May, you may see more firings, and especially from those two teams. But other divisions are just weird. And I noticed this. It's 1 month, but you look and you're like, okay, they start to even out. But I looked at the AL West, and every team was basically at one point under 500. Now we do have the A's are 2 games over, Rangers are 500, and then Seattle 1 game, Angels 5, and then the Astros shockingly 7 games below. But they're just kind of all right there. They are starting to weed themselves out a little. But again, last place, 4.5 games out. Nothing too crazy. And then the other division that caught my eye was the NL Central, where every team is above 500. So every team has been performing well. They're right there. And to this now, as of this recording, everybody is, above 500. So the worst spots right now is the NL East. The Braves are kind of rolling. The biggest deficit is the Phillies and the Mets from the top. Red Sox are 7 games out from first. That's the Yankees. And you don't really get that anywhere else. Everything else 6.5, things like that. So some of these teams are playing well. And, the teams, the divisions, they have some young stars. And that seems to be the new theme in the MLB. So it seems that the new stars are young. And the young stars are coming into the league. They're getting paid quick, and they're performing. And expectations are high right out the gate. And as I mentioned with this Trout and Ohtani and Judges, they're over 30. Again, baseball, sometimes these guys play until whenever, but there's a new group of players. They're ready to be stars of the league, and they're getting paid. Now, when I say getting paid, I mean kind of like the Braves did Ronald Acuna. Team-friendly, prove-it deal, but still decent money for if you're, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. Acuna, at age 21, signed a 8-year, $100 million deal. Now, he deserves an extension and a raise. Now, his numbers right now wouldn't say that. But, again, I don't want to see him leave the Braves. But they're not known to pay people, guys later. They like to do these team-friendly deals. Other guys who have, signed these types of deals is like a Corbin Carroll. He got similar in 2023 at age 22. He got an 8-year, $111 million deal. And just recently this year, I talk about, Connor Griffin of the Pirates. 9 years, 140. Kevin McGonigal for the Tigers, 8 years, 150. Colt Emerson with the Mariners, 8 years, 130. Christian Campbell with the Red Sox, 8 years, $60 million. Not as great, but you know. Gunnar Henderson, who is one of the most exciting stars, young guys in the league right now. He's under contract through 2029, but he's projected to get between $400 and $500 million when he gets that extension or an actual contract. So big money there. You get, let's see here, Jordan Walker's off to a hot start in St. Louis. Definitely here in April. Paul Skeens, he's only 23, by the way. He already has a Rookie of the Year, a Cy Young, and a 2-time All-Star. Not to mention his WBC Classic performance. Drake Baldwin, reigning Rookie of the Year, off to a hot start again. Solid defensive catcher. So he's already, you know, just taking on the role with the Braves. Is like, I'm the starter, I'm the guy, and clutch, and he's the one that I think you believe in every time he comes up. Other young guys, Ellie De La Cruz has been exciting, been rising in the ranks as one of those stars you want to go, young guys, young stars you want to go watch play. Bobby Witt Jr. doesn't get much better than that at shortstop in Kansas City. Ezekiel Tovar, Roman Anthony. I list these guys because someone has to step up and be the face one day. I know I've talked about who's the face now, who can take over as the face, you know, for Trout, for, you know, Ohtani, Judge, even though they've got years left, but as they are, you know, going to be considered those veteran faces and stars, you need that young group of stars to keep carrying the league on, to keep a number of, you know, the youth watching and things like that. But yeah, I mean, we still have Judge, Ohtani, Acuna, Guerrero, Soto, Machado, Freddie Freeman, Jose Ramirez, Mookie Betts, even Cal Raleigh, 1 year, but let's see. He got his name out there. Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Jose Altuve. I mean, they're still around. So, you know, some are fading, some are hanging, some are still producing. But the young stars, again, they're the future. And they're just, you know, they've got our attention. It's just who's gonna catch on to the masses to say that's our guy. And what makes me think about that too is like MLB The Show. You know, they threw Judge back on the cover. And it was like, okay, that's his second time. So there was no one else. There was no one else available. I mean, hell, they put Jazz Chisholm on the cover at one point, and I thought that was the worst cover that could possibly be done because I don't think of him as a star. I think, yeah, probably a fun. He's definitely a character and all these things, and but again, Aaron Judge, you can't argue with a 3-time MVP getting on there. I know they've had other guys, but you can't tell me that a Ronald Acuna Jr., even though I'm a Braves fan, he couldn't be on the cover. Shohei, a 4-time MVP, definitely could be on the cover. I think there's guys. I mean, you know, and Vlad Guerrero's only been on it. Manny Machado, Soto. Again, I named De La Cruz and Bobby Witt. I mean, there's something to be said about all this. You know, Paul Skeens. There's another name. I mean, you could go any kind of route, and I think that was just telling that are the young stars. Yes, they are. You know, teams are going with the young guys earlier, quicker to get them out there and playing them, and they're believing in them. Not so much let's have veterans, it's let's have the youth kind of just go ahead and let's roll with them. And it's working out for the most teams. I think it is working out, and I think that makes the game more exciting. Now, is it as exciting as Mike Trout when he's relevant? I don't know about that, right? He still has clout. He still has name. He still has recognition. And that returns me back to that, original point is that baseball is better with Mike Trout. I'm all for, the young guys, and you got to learn them, know who they are, watch them play, and you'll see why they're already in the show and doing what they do. But yeah, I think there's room for everyone. I think baseball's in a good place after shifting rules and things like that. We'll see if they add any more teams. That's another episode, expansion talk. But yeah, as for that, I mean, I think I'm through with this. Yeah, it's baseball's fun though. You gotta give it a chance. If you don't, I know everyone says it's boring, this, that, and the other, but they sped it up. There's some exciting players out there, and like I said, still around. So give it a chance. Go watch it. Baseball's in a good place. So that's the show today. Listen to the show on all podcast outlets, even on YouTube. There's just no video. Follow on social media on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. You can keep up with when all episodes are available. The topics, stay connected. Listen, share, like, follow, comment, download, all that fun stuff. Especially, though, listen and share. Remember, whatever device you listen to, just go and tap that app. And as for this episode, I am